Well, sorry. A terrifying and ugly beast who suffers from a superiority complex, or rather, thinks he benefits from it. A being who wants to be respected and worshipped by those around him and will do so by any means necessary. Whether that be mental or physical torment, one way or another, you will see him as your god. Telerai, previously known as Executable, is an EXE created by Cyrolander. Cyro actually submitted this character when I was reviewing viewer EXEs and was featured in my tier list video. My first initial reaction was to yell ew like I did in the beginning. This thing is genuinely horrific, but very well may be one of my personal favorite EXEs in terms of horror look. I don't get unnerved by many things in this community, but this EXE combined with the art style is genuinely disgusting, and I love it. Though despite this appearance, he purely wants to be given as much respect as his idol, Sonic the Hedgehog. Even wearing Sonic's body to feel as important and to experience what it's like to be the Blue Blur. He has two different forms, his Telerai form and his Speedster form, which is equally as horrific but is incredibly well drawn. This specific EXE belongs to an upcoming game called Sonic the Executable, which will be a duology with Taylorai's full story. I will be saying it differently each time, and because I know Cyro is watching this, I'm sorry. He was like, dude, this is how you say it. And then he kept saying it, and I was like, I totally understand. We do have a glimpse as to what the character is about, and a general idea of what the story is. I'm going to read the description of both Telerai and Speedster and the story of Telerai straight off of the Sonic Oddities wiki to fully explain what we have so far. So credit goes to them and Cyro. Link for the page will be down in the description below. Despite Telerai's attempts, the Mobians of the world see Telerai as a monster, one not deserving of respect. These responses always led to Telerai's annoyance, becoming more cruel when unprovoked or by his lonesome. Telerai spends his alone time within his cabin, indulging in his interest of sewing, using the flesh hides of victims, stitching them together to create art of them. The many pieces Telerai creates consist of various kinds of furniture and objects, including seats, lamps, and more. This period of time is the calmest and most collective Telerai will ever get, showing no signs of violence or manic behavior. This time of peace only stopping once Telerai is finished with his work or is interrupted by an intruder. Despite Telerai's violent actions towards the inhabitants of Mobius, Telerai sees his victims as one collective family, being the one who birthed each and every one of them. Telerai shows the most love to the messengers, who are the only creatures Telerai shows true affection. The only exception is the messenger in space, who Telerai views as treacherous scum, punishing her by permanently silencing her and binding her to Demergat, another member of the messengers. Of all the messengers, Vigil is the one shown the most affection of any creature in Telerai's world, Telerai viewing him as the closest thing to a real son. And that's the description of Telerai in his main form. I messed up on some of these names, I'm aware. I believe that this lore may or may not be outdated. I think some of the names were changed. I do have the Guardians here, or they're called the Messengers, and that's kind of his version of that. They also look pretty disgusting. I really like the designs. I think that they were previous victims of Telerai, but I'm not entirely sure if that's still the case, but they just absolutely look disgusting. And I think that they have some of the coolest designs. Now I'll go ahead and I'll describe his Speedster form, which is a little shorter. More compact form is the form Telerai uses to fulfill his more violent and cruel ideas. Speedster is more rude and snarky compared to his bigger counterpart, trying to act in a similar manner to Sonic the Hedgehog himself. Unlike Telerai, Speedster tends to find himself using weapons such as hammers, knives, axes, and various other items to make his pursuits more joyful. And that's his Speedster. Also, the Speedster one looks pretty, yeah. Honestly, I don't know which one I find more creepy. Telerai's hands were made bigger, and his fingers remind me of spider legs. And right. So those are his two forms and a little bit of information on how he views his version of Guardians. Here is the tale, or at least what's updated on the wiki. Talarai is a creature born from within the void, an unlivable pit of non-existence that lays between the state of life and death, in which Talarai would reside for decades, watching humanity evolve over the years. During his time observing life, he learned of human culture and its traditions. This was until the 1990s, when he discovered Sonic the Hedgehog. Talarai became hyperfixated on the colorful hedgehog and his equally colorful friends. During the next decade, Talarai would spend his time watching children and adults around the world playing his games, watching his shows, and finding comfort and admiration in the property. Talarai's hyperfixation soon turned into an obsession. His obsession focused on Sonic himself, looking up to Sonic as a strong, powerful figure, wanting admiration for his hero. Talarai wanted to be dearly respected like the Hedgehog was. This obsession would soon lead to Talarai creating his own world by his hands, basing the land off of his beloved franchise. A world where he can finally play God. Talarai had created Mobius in its entirety, and birthed Sonic's friends, filling their minds with fake memories of their lives and adventures, just so he could enjoy shattering their world. Once the pieces were in place, Talarai would set up a trap for his beloved idol Sonic, hiding himself in an item box that, in any other case, would provide his support. Talarai waited like an animal waiting for prey, and as the time had fully come, Sonic was in his grasp, being killed within seconds. In that moment, Talarai could only feel pleasure and ecstasy run down his spine as he held the lifeless body of his hero, a rush that nothing could compare to in the monster's mind. Sonic was Talarai's first victim of many, and Talarai cherished it dearly. Talarai could now wear the skin of the character he had idolized for decades, the excitement and fulfillment never leaving his body as he finally felt what it was like to be in the shoes of his precious Sonic, compressing his body to fit inside him. Not long after donning his new look, he was soon discovered by Tails, who watched in horror as Talarai stood up, looking back at him. As Tails fled from the scene, confused and scared, Talarai knew this was the beginning of something truly special. Talarai has the usual victims involved in this story, and even has some pretty cool sprite art for all of them and himself. Sonic.exe is still being written, so things may be subject to change, but man, this guy is terrifying. There are a few fun facts about him as well. Talarai's favorite Sonic character is Big the Cat, who also exists inside of Talarai's world, and is the only Mobian who Talarai really shows no harm to, and punishes anyone who attempts to harm Big in any way. I mean, honestly, this is perfectly valid. Who wouldn't want to protect Big the Cat? Jokes aside, I can imagine Cyro was shitposting here because there's no way this horrifying thing actually cares for Big the Cat. It also says he likes metal, but to be honest, he seems more like a musical kind of guy. I do understand when Cyro was actually writing this, I think he was like 16 or 17. So I think like some of these he was like, man, this would be really funny if I wrote this down. Yeah, you know what? He loves Big the Cat. I mean, technically his favorite Sonic character is Sonic. So, I mean, you only get one. You only get one favorite character, because I say so. I would love to see a game surrounding this guy, because, like I said, truly terrifying. In terms of abilities, he's pretty powerful. While in his speedster form, he's, well, faster. And in his Talarai form, he's a lot stronger. Don't let this creepy hands fool you. He could slap a building and it would probably fall. Though, one ability is interesting. Item Box. While being able to use item boxes for transport, Talarai can also use the items themselves, absorbing the energy into his body, whether it be fire, water, or electricity. This guy stole Mario's whole thing. Whether or not these facts should be taken seriously is up to you guys. But I thought they were a little silly, so I just wanted to point that out. Could be subject to change. While there isn't too much to the EXE, it's still terrifying, and I had to make a video on it, and I decided that while I was working on some of my bigger projects, I would send out a smaller type of video because I've been wanting to release something on this guy for a little bit. So I figured, hey, if this story gets updated, if we see more, if a game comes out, I will talk about it again. I had this script written out for some time and figured, hey, why not drop the video right after I get back from vacation? And yes, viewer, I am back from vacation. and my voice is a little torn. So I hope you guys could forgive me. I was doing some voice acting work that I'm very excited to reveal to you guys. I have a few different projects I'm so excited for. It's different, and I get to use more of my vocal in both singing and also voice acting, and I'm really excited for that. And as you guys can tell, it tore apart my voice. But I'm back. Expect more videos. Whisper of Soul is in the works. Yeah, I hate my life. Subscribe. And remember, stay freaky.